Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of Ferrari. This movie is directed by Michael Mann, who previously did Heat, Last of the Mohicans, and Public Enemies. This movie stars Adam Driver and Penelope Cruz. The plot of this movie is about Enzo Ferrari, the owner and founder of the car company that is Ferrari. And the movie takes place in 1957, 10 years after they were founded. And Enzo is dealing with his family, or should I say families, him having to run this company, and him preparing for this big race that may save them from bankruptcy. Now, when I first saw the trailer to this movie, I was intrigued because Adam Driver is a good actor. And I was like, is this movie going to be more like Gucci, where it was a slow drama? Or was it going to be like Ford v Ferrari or Rush, where it relied more on the racing, the cars, the excitement, the track, the drama, the crashes, stuff like that? Now, this movie reminded me of Napoleon, where you had this enigmatic figure and he was part of this pivotal and exciting lifestyle, but instead of focusing on the excitement on the track, it focused on the drama outside of it. Did I enjoy this movie? Yes. Would I rush out to see it again? Probably not. Here's why. Now, let me start with the acting in this movie, because the acting is the strength, and it's what held this movie together and kept me captivated. Adam Driver as Enzo Ferrari, he was really good. At first, when the movie started out, I was like, okay, is he just going to play another Italian character like in Gucci, where we don't really get to sympathize with him, we don't really get to care about him, he just plays this guy that has a lot going on in his life, or what? But he did surprisingly well, considering he had to balance, this multi-million dollar racing company, but also dealing with his wife, his deceased kid, but also having a side family with Shailene Woodley and another son. This was a lot, and it was good. It didn't focus too little on one aspect and too much on the other, but it was well balanced. It was him, spending the day with Shailene Woodley and her son, and then going home to his wife at night. And if you know anything about Adam Driver in family dramas like Marriage Story, he definitely brings the acting in this movie. I would say probably the most pivotal and memorable scene, aside from a certain racing moment, is the confrontation between Penelope Cruz and Adam Driver, where they're talking about their deceased son and how it's taken its toll on them as a family. And it is real heavy, but this is a movie where I was like, you know what, Adam Driver, I was never really too keen on him before the Star Wars films, but now that he's kind of outgrown those and he's shown what he can do, I am definitely a fan of his. Penelope Cruz, I've always enjoyed her. She's always attractive, but also she can bring it. She can bring the drama, and she can bring the seriousness. And her as this, just distraught wife who doesn't have the luxury that Enzo has of this second family and, in a way, this second chance. She was great. Some of the side actors in this movie, Shailene Woodley as the side piece, the side girlfriend, if you will. She was good. She was a lot more. She was given a lot more to do than Florence Pugh was in like Oppenheimer. But she did a fine job. I was never a huge fan of her, but in this role, she worked. Other actors that appeared as race car drivers in the film were Jack O'Connell, who I always enjoy seeing, and Patrick Dempsey, with like this bleach blonde, white hair, who's actually a driver in real life, I learned. It was nice to see him again, but their roles were very, very small. This film focused on another driver, not Adam, but a driver of a car. I can't remember his name, so I'll put it in the video, but the movie almost seemed to focus on Adam Driver's family, and then when it came to the racing, it would focus on this other driver that was pivotal to the film later on. I'll get into that. Aside from Enzo Ferrari dealing with his family lives, the film focused on preparation for this, what is it called? Mille Miglia race. I think that's how they pronounce it. It's an Italian race. It's 1,000 miles long. And so the film is about Enzo prepping his cars and his drivers for this spectacular race through Europe and Italy and etc. And I would say the racing wasn't as intriguing, but there was a scene involving a crash that was like, oh my gosh, how did they film that? It looked super realistic. It's very tragic, but it was one of those whoa moments. Which, aside from the confrontation between Penelope Cruz and Adam Driver, that crash scene was probably one of the most, if not the most memorable scene in the movie, because it just was like, oh, it happened so quickly, and you're like, that happened, and that's crazy. And then after that, in the third act, the movie just sums up the rest of the story in text with words on the screen. The ending was kind of like, okay, you're gonna end the movie there? All right. So this film wasn't your typical biopic. It wasn't a, from birth to death type story, but instead a look into the life of Enzo Ferrari, his company, his families, in a certain period of time in his life. And honestly, I don't think it was that exciting. The acting was really good, but that's the only reason why I would say check this movie out. So because of that, I'm gonna give Ferrari a C plus. So until next time, guys.